Air pollution plunges 40% in Europe amid coronavirus lockdown.
Here's a summary of the article.
Air pollution from nitrogen dioxide has fallen by an estimated 40% in 3 European cities, according to new satellite data released by the European Space Agency, coinciding with a widespread lockdown to curb the spread of the coronavirus. The Space Agency's Copernicus Sentinel-5P satellite mission on Friday released 3 composite images showing nitrogen dioxide concentrations in the period March 14 to 25 over France, Spain and Italy, compared to the monthly average of concentrations from 2019. This is a first-level estimate. Some of these values have gone down by about 40% of the normal value, so a very drastic decrease. Joseph Aschbacher, ESA Director of Earth Observation Programs, told Reuters via a video call. Researchers studying the impact of emissions from industry and transport on climate change and human health are scrambling to understand the possible implications of the coronavirus pandemic as economies slow, flights are disrupted and quarantines imposed. What you really see are the centers of this pollution. It is quite a good first-level indicator of anthropogenic pollution coming from traffic and industry, added Aschbacher. Nitrogen dioxide, a noxious gas emitted by cars, power plants and factories, is blamed for some respiratory and heart conditions. Almost every city-dwelling European is exposed to pollution levels that exceed healthy levels, according to a 2019 report from European Environment Agency.
This post received a score of 63,501, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
It's insane the ramifications our daily lives entail sometimes. 40% is such an insane drop.
Especially when you think of what air pollution does to human beings every day from a health perspective. It's lethal, quite literally.
I'm just curious to see how climate change deniers will spin this now that we have even more proof that humanity is the cause.
Or we might prove to them that humanity is the cause of pollution, but I suspect that the climate would have to respond much more drastically than this temporary reduction is likely to allow. Anyone who still denies our role in this just doesn't want to believe it anyway.
It's possible to change minds on climate. I've done it several times over. Most people are bad at arguing. If you haven't had success, assume you are like most people. It helps to take some training.
I don't know if there's any in the packet. I'll take a look when I have more time later, but I've also found it handy to use the energy independence for American geopolitical strength argument for those invested in Middle Eastern politics and our foreign affairs there. Stopping our reliance on foreign oil would be huge.
And we won't wean ourselves off fossil fuels without a carbon tax. I like it.
Can someone explain how this won't just become a poor people tax?
I can. It's a common misconception that a carbon tax necessarily hurts the poor, but it turns out it's trivially easy to design a carbon tax that doesn't. Simply returning the revenue as an equitable dividend would do the trick.
We need to increase the amount of remote jobs while also limiting wastefulness.
This needs to be higher. Society doesn't need to change dramatically. All it needs to do is adopt the modern conveniences into old systems, reduce inefficient practices. Millions of jobs can be done from home, and that many cars being taken off the road does dividends for the environment. I sadly think this whole thing is going to expose how many jobs are 100% unneeded or shows how irrelevant some areas are. Oh, this document for purchasing doesn't need to go through these 7 other groups. Well, let's cut those 30+ jobs out. Unfortunately, I'm afraid some jobs simply won't come back, but I'm of the hope it'll provoke calls for the state to reduce corporate handouts and improve social programs in the face of mass unemployment. Because giving billions to an industry that has no future or is ever used by such a small fraction of a percentage of people instead of helping those in need to stay afloat is normally not especially popular except among that same percentage.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.